Recording in progress. Okay, so welcome to the September. There's my beautiful friend Kim. I love you so much. Thank you for hanging in there. Okay, this is our September Zoom meeting, and I am recording it. Just know that we record it for anyone who was physically unable to be here. We only share it on the Coach Facebook page, but then Jennifer puts it on YouTube for anybody who wants to find it quickly. That's why I never record the prayers, because those are personal. But you know, if for some reason you don't want this shared, then you can let me know that later. And if anybody asks, I can just send it to them individually. Okay, so I will stop talking and I'm going to introduce our speakers, and then I will tell you the order one at a time. I'll let them share, and I'm going to introduce them now so they can just tell you their name, where they're from, how many kids they have, and how long they've been homeschooling. So you can kind of get that out of the way before they start talking about their topic. Okay. So first, I'll let Holly introduce herself.
I am Holly Smith. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, which is North Alabama. And we have lived here for about 13 years. And we have a 13-year-old son named Harrison and an 11-year-old daughter named Darcy. And my husband and I have been married for 20 years. This year was 20 years. And about it. We've been homeschooling since Harrison was in 2nd grade. So
thank you.
Several years.
And also know that only the person who's talking, like when they're sharing, that's what shows up on the recording. The recording does not show like all these Brady Bunch squares. Okay, so if you have to like burp a baby or something, that's not going to be for everybody to see. Okay, Kim, go ahead. And God bless Kim, because she is being very patient. She had technical difficulties. I love you.
I'm Kim Dlugo. I live in Tampa, Florida, actually a little town called Seffner. We have been here for about 2 years next month. We have 5 kids. Oldest is a senior, then we have a junior, an 8th grader, a 6th grader, and a pre-K. We've been homeschooling for a little more than 10 years. And my husband and I have been married for 19 years. And that's about it.
Great. Okay. And Sharla.
Hey, I'm Sharla Orren, and I live in Camden, Arkansas. We've been here for about 6 years. My husband is the minister of the Cullendale Church of Christ here. Let's see, I have 2 boys. One is 13, and one just started college. Let's see, and we've been married 20 years. And I've been homeschooling. I'm going to say I've been homeschooling 18 years, because I feel like when Cash was a baby, you know, I started teaching him. So I'm just going to say I've been homeschooling for 18 years.
Hey, you earned it. That's fine. And Amanda.
Okay. I have to figure all this stuff out. I'm new to this. Okay, we have 5 kids. I don't know, 12 years old and a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old and a just turned 3-year-old. And we live in Northern Kentucky. And let's see, what were the other things?
That's it.
Okay. There you go. Okay. We've been homeschooling for a long time, whenever the first started. I don't know, whenever that was.
I think we will go this way, ladies. There are 13 participants on our Zoom tonight. So just know that y'all can ask questions at the end if they don't cover what you are curious about. I think we're going to start with Sharla, and then we're going to go to Holly, and then we're going to go to Kim, and then we're going to go to Amanda. And Kim, if you want to split your 2 up, you can go after Amanda, or you can do it all at the same time. It's up to you. All right, Sharla.
Okay, so I'm talking about high school transcripts and getting ready for college. So when my oldest was in 8th grade, which is Cash, the one who just started college, I started looking at various transcripts online just to kind of see the different kinds, and also transcript planners. And there's about 1 million different ones, and it's very overwhelming. And so basically, when you start looking at them, you are going to have to try to figure out what kind of information you want, because like I printed off like, I don't know how many different kinds. And then I was really overwhelmed trying to fill them all out. And so don't do that. Now, one thing when I was doing transcripts was our state to homeschool. We're a very homeschool friendly state. And all you have to do is say you are homeschooling for that year. So, I mean, there's nothing that you have to do. And so I know some of y'all may be like in stricter states or have an umbrella school or whatever that may tell you like exactly what classes you're supposed to take. But ours doesn't. So what I did was I went to our Arkansas education website just to see what the public school kids needed in order to graduate in Arkansas. But then I thought, well, really, since I can do whatever I want to, why don't I look at the colleges? So I went to several different colleges just to see what the requirements were in order to graduate. I went to all the places that I knew Cash wanted to go to, but I also was just curious. And so I wanted to see about like schools such as Harvard, because I was just curious. And so what really, really shocked me when I was looking at all these colleges, even Harvard, is really, as far as transcripts go, they do not care. I had read an article. I think it was on the Harvard site. It's because like as a homeschooler, you can basically just say whatever you want to, make it up. As public schoolers, some schools do their GPA differently. Like our school, where I was from, you got the grades you got if you were in honors class, but some of the public schools, you would get what are called, I think, weighting grades. And so they would bump you up if you were in an honors class. So because of those reasons, transcripts kind of don't mean anything. What they're looking for is your ACT and SAT scores, because they're more standardized, which I realize that's kind of unfair because standardized tests, I know all the issues with those, but that's basically what they are looking at as far as colleges go. But here's something that they've kind of thrown in because of COVID. There's a lot of people that can't get ACT or SAT scores. So kind of that's starting to be thrown out. And they're even saying they may stop doing that. So I went today to the Harvard site just because I was curious. And I know you're like, Sharla, why Harvard? But you know, that's the one that all the like grandparents are like, what about Harvard? You know, anyway. So I went to the Harvard site and I could not really find anything about transcripts on there today. The main thing they want to know when your kid is entering college is what are the extracurricular activities are they involved in? What are their interests and their volunteer work? I mean, that is the main things that they want to know. And let me add this real quick as far as transcripts go. Don't put that on the transcript because I was trying to find a place on the transcript to put that. The simpler, the better as far as transcripts go. Okay, so let me go back to the volunteer work, extracurricular activities, and all that. You need to be writing all that stuff down because you will forget, because I forgot like so many things that my kids have done. But you can get a template online so that you can keep up with their volunteer. I know you probably can't see that. So you can keep up with their community service hours, volunteer hours, anything like that, because that is really, really, really important. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so make sure that you write down all of that extra work, because even though you do not put that on the template, it will come up in any like different applications you're filling out, applications for the school, applications for scholarships, like all those different kinds of things. Okay, now back to the why am I losing my train of thought, y'all? The What am I talking about, Vicki? Back to the transcripts. There is a thing called a course planner template, and you really need that. And you probably want to start writing all that stuff down when your kids start taking anything that could be considered a high school class. So like when Cash was in 7th grade, he took a government class, and it was taught by a professor in our co-op, but all the other kids in there were high school, and I don't want to give up those credits. I mean, that was a good solid credit. And so you want to make sure to start writing those things down. And so also, when you're looking at what kind of transcript you want to do, there are the grade level transcripts, which would be like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, what they would take in those different grades, or what is called the subject transcript. And the subject is that's the one I like the best, because again, Cash took that government class and I wanted to count it, but you can't really put like 7th grade on a transcript. And so anyway, going by subject, and I know you can't see on the thing. So if anybody's really interested in that, I did I did the website so that I can post that if you need it. Since I can't, you won't be able to see on here. But anyway, so when you're looking at the template you want to use for your transcript, then you'll need to decide, do you want a subject transcript, or do you want a I don't know why I keep losing my train of thought. A grade level transcript. Okay.
Do you have a website you wanted me to write on here? I can put it in the chat box.
No, because it was so long that I had
Okay.
to copy and paste it. And so
That's okay.
I'll have to get it later.
Okay.
So here's one thing that I learned when doing transcripts. Cash took a dual credit class. So in order to take the dual credit, I had to do an earlier transcript for him to take it. And so I made it myself. And I really liked it. But because our state has a homeschool place that will make them for you, I thought, oh, when he goes to college, I'm going to let them do it, or it'll look more official or whatever. And so I did that, but I did not like theirs. I liked mine better. So I thought, why did I spend that money to get them to do it when mine looked better to me than me paying for theirs? Also in that, I spent $50 to get them to make a diploma, just because I thought, oh, it'll look more official. But I haven't used Cash's diploma for anything. I mean, nobody's asked for it, nothing. I mean, I took a picture with it, but I could have just as easily made my own for, and saved $50. So, I mean, I guess there's so many times that we think we have to be so, what is the word I'm looking for? More like public school, when we don't have to be. The transcript I did was fine, and the colleges didn't care. I mean, it doesn't have to be so perfect. I mean, I even talked to the person who was accepting transcripts at a college, and she goes, oh yeah, you're a homeschool mom. You just sign it and give it to me. I'm good. I mean, she said if it was a public school, the school would have to send it, but you homeschool, you just give it to me. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, the main thing I learned through all that was you don't have to be perfect in your transcript or your diploma, because the colleges don't care. So there's that.
Great point. Great point. And I'm proud of you for your humble advice of you don't have to pay $50.
Save $50.
All right, Miss Holly.
All right, tonight I am talking about taking personal time for Bible study. And Vicki asked me to give a little commercial for Digging Deep. If you do not know what Digging Deep is, this is it right here. It's written by Cindy Colley, but this year's just started. And it is called The Hour Has Come. It's Conversations Before the Cross. It is conversations between Christ and his disciples and his apostles the last 3 days of his life or thereabouts. And so if you know about Digging Deep, raise your hand. Okay. All right. So you can find it at thecolleyhouse.org. You can print it off for free. It is free every year, but you can also purchase a book. It's just all together in a spiral book. And it has places for you to put your answers and all that stuff. So if you do not know what Digging Deep is, let me just give you a really short version, but you can go to Google and you can just print Digging Deep introduction video and it will come up. And but this is basically what happens. So the theme for this year, it starts in September. Every year is The Hour Has Come, but every month has a different topic. So this year there are conversations about different things. So purpose, divine unity, service, betrayal, heaven, Holy Spirit, fruit, love, persecution, sorrow. I'm reading this upside down. Glorification, final words from the cross, and don't miss your calling from 1 Peter 3. So every month is a little bit different, but it still revolves around the main theme. So that's how it works. You do it month by month. And during the month, there are a few, usually about 4, usually it's about 1 a week. They're called Digabits. They're just little short podcasts that talk about something within that month's study. And then at the very end of the month, there is a live podcast. And so you can follow that live podcast. You can comment and such. It's usually Cindy and another co-host. So anyway, that's kind of how it works. And I really do like group studies for one reason. Biggest reason I think is that it just gives you that motivation and that deadline that, you know, most of us need to just have something to say, okay, I have to be done with this by such and such day. And it's okay if you're not done with it, because there are times that I don't get done with it by that time. But it does kind of give you that motivation to be done, you know, by that time. So that's really it in a nutshell. So I'm going to take the next few minutes to give you some other ideas about how to do any kind of personal Bible study. So I would say number one, you need to just set that aside of time. You need to make sure that you make that a priority. I typically do mine at the same time every day, just because that helps me stay on task. A group study is a great way to go. Digging Deep is one of those. Finer Ground, they Come Fill Your Cup. They have different group studies that they do throughout the year. Carla Moore does a scripture writing study that you're writing through Acts right now, and you write several verses down each day, and then you kind of like pick apart those verses and really study those verses. You can find her on Facebook, Carla Moore, and you will see she takes a picture of hers every day. So it's just kind of a guide of what she has done and what she has found that day. So anyway, that's another good one. And that is, it's done. She does it. She starts it in January, and you, each day you have different scriptures that you write. And so she just has a list of those to give you. And she also,
Her Facebook group is called Scripture Writing 2020.
Yes, and there is a Facebook group just for that, and so it's really good. I've really enjoyed it. My kids are doing it this year, and so anyway, something to do. Another thing is to do Bible marking. Kathy Pollard has lots of, it's just basically change referencing that you can put to your own Bible. I think those are really good. I usually sit down and do one of those every now and then. And what I typically do is the website, okay, hold on, Daisy. The website for Digging Deep is on thecollyhouse.org, and we'll write those in the chats. And then the other one is Carla Moore. She is on Facebook, and she does it through Facebook. It's not on a website. And then Finer Ground is comefillyourcup.com. That's another one. Okay, so Bible marking is on comefillyourcup.com, and it is done by Kathy Pollard, but she basically makes a chain reference for a lot of different topics, and they are all great topics to have in your Bible. So I just have mine written down at the very beginning of my Bible. So I have a couple pages that look like this, but you put one verse, and then you go to that verse, and then you go to the next verse, and by those verses you have the next verse written. And so anyway, you can kind of go through the Bible very quickly to find verses about one topic. So what I typically do is sit down and do that, and then I will go back through those and study each verse specifically. Another thing you can do is you can do book studies. Choose a specific book of the Bible, read through it several times, outline it, highlight things like all the promises in one color, highlight the attributes of the Godhead in another color. Use another color to highlight all the commands or all the warnings or all the attributes of Christian people, whatever it is that you decide to highlight. It is very helpful just to study the book that way. And also it's very helpful to find verses that way, because you can say, oh, I know that verse is in James. And okay, that verse is a command. So you know that all the commands are in orange. So it's very hard. It's very easy to make sure life a lot easier to try to find those verses that are, sometimes hard to find. Anyway, it's a really good way to study a book, and you can study the author, the city that it was written to, and all that. As well. I know this is really fast, but I only have 10 minutes. So the next one is character studies. Character studies are a great way to study a character and study their life and their faults and how they repented. And you can also learn lots of attributes that you probably need to put into your life through that study. You can study about their hometown or any references to them in other books of the Bible. You can compare them to what they do, to how you might react in your life in those situations. Word studies are another way to study. When studying a passage or a topic, you might see that one word is repeated several times. One example is in John chapter 20, the word see or saw, or that a version of that word is used several times, but they're all different Greek words and they all mean different things. And so you can really do a great study by a word study through one section of scripture. Listening to sermons today is so easy. The technology that we have is at our fingertips. Podcasts, sermons, all those types of things are a great way to pass the time while you walk or do dishes, or I sew a lot, so I listen to a lot like that, or I drive a good bit. Sometimes, like yesterday, I drove to my in-laws, which is about a 2.5 hour drive, and I listened to podcasts and sermons that I had downloaded on my phone. So things like that, are great ways to use your time wisely. One more thing is to do topical studies. Choose a topic. Maybe you want to choose topic of angels. Maybe you want to learn more about what angels do and what their purposes are. And so you go through your Bible and you study every passage that talks about angels, just different things like that. So lots of different ways to study your Bible, but I would say the number one thing you need to do is make the time and stick to that time each and every day. I think that's very helpful to keep it at the same time. And anyway, that has been very helpful for me. And also kind of plan out your week, because there are things that, you know, like I don't study Digging Deep every day. And so there are times where I want to study something else, you know, during the week that week. And so I just kind of plan out my days. I usually sit down on the weekends and kind of plan out my days for the week ahead. And then in the morning, I'm not sitting there thinking, okay, what is it that I'm going to study today, and take 10 minutes to try to decide that, you know what I mean? And so then you've kind of wasted 10 minutes, you know, when you could just go ahead and have a plan. So there's my little bit. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Very good. Thank you. Kim is going to share with us, and she's going to start out with some planner talk.
So Vicki, can I just do both of mine back to back? Because
Yes, you can.
Okay, perfect. My planner is very individualized to me. So when Vicki asked me to talk about it, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say. But I will tell you, if any of you are using a curriculum like My Father's World, you know that you get a lot of teacher's manuals. I have kids from senior in high school all the way down to pre-K. And so that has always been my difficulty in making a planner, because I have so many kids, and a lot of you have a lot of kids, and it's hard to keep it all organized. So way back when Vicki and I first met, I started making my own planners, and half the fun is doing the covers. I don't know if you guys can see this, but my oldest daughter is an artist, and she drew the cover for me.
That's not adorable, y'all.
That is very cute.
So, and then my middle daughter did the painting. But anyways, I started way back when just putting my own planner together, and I cheat a little bit because I do use My Father's World. They have planner pages inside their planners, and they look very similar to this, but they're different for all grade levels. Don't mind my marking. This was week 2 this year, but it includes spots for all of the subjects that you might cover in your day. And so what I decided to do with my kids is I took the page from each of their 4 different teachers' manuals, and I just started copying them. So I have a copy of my pre-K, I have a copy of my middle schoolers, and the high schoolers are in different curriculums. So I have a copy of each of those, and they're all together in my planner. And so the way that it works for me is I start with my high schoolers. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see this. I'm sorry. I start with my high schoolers, and we have a double page spread. So I have my senior girl and my junior girl here. And then the next page is my middle schoolers and my pre-K. And that way, just at a glance, I know that I'm getting all my subjects in each week instead of having to go to the teacher's manuals every single time. The way that you can diversify this for if you're not using My Father's World, condensing all of your kids into as little pages as possible. So if you have 2 high schoolers, try to put it into a 1-page or 2-page spread. And it's a simple, you know, you could do this in Excel, just make simple boxes and put the subjects that you use or that you need in your school. So it would be very similar to the My Father's World. You just make your boxes and fill it in for each week. The other thing, I lost my train of thought too. I think that's contagious tonight. The other thing, and I'm trying to talk fast because I have a lot to cover. The other thing is we use our planners to show what we succeeded at. So oftentimes the things that I have written, my middle schooler, I had to write some stuff in the blanks down here. It's for my 8th grader. And I write them in after we have accomplished them because every day is different. So if you plan 5 weeks in advance, that's great. But if you're like me and I plan that far in advance and I don't get there, I get discouraged. So I do it after I write it in after we've completed it. And for me, it's just a mental help to get through the week and to make sure that we're accomplishing what we need to accomplish. The other thing that I do with my planner on my youngest kids page, which is the pre-K. I did sort of make this page personally for what we needed. He has his little My Father's World curriculum here. They only do 4 days. So I use, we now in our school, we're not on week 2, but we're on week 5. So now I've put it in a 5th day right here. And we have our prayer requests. So every morning we start our day with a family meeting. And so our family meeting consists of prayer requests, saying a prayer together, having a short devotion, and then going over our curriculum for the day, because my high schoolers go off on their own. My middle schoolers do some on their own. And then I have my pre-K. So we have our family devotion. And in that time, we talk about our, I don't know if you can see this, our prayer requests. We often will discuss what the meal plan is. It helps me to stay organized so that I have a little bit of home life in with my homeschool life. And then I have a little box for memorable moments. Week 2, I had none. I think it was kind of a crappy week around here. Just getting back into the swing of things. But we also have a memory verse or quote that we do each week. We choose a different Bible passage or famous quote. If we're talking about a president that week, it might be a president's quote. And we do a different one each week. And so that has been really something that we really enjoy to do. And then at the bottom, if we have any must get dones, like if we're behind in math, which is typical for us, that would often go at the bottom. And so we have some areas to kind of fill in and personalize as you need. And I want to say a little bit more about our memory verse and quote. Every Monday, we will go back through the entire year, each week's memory verse or quote. We don't necessarily have them memorized. It's more just understanding what the Bible text is telling us or what the quote is telling us. But we have accumulated tons of Bible verses and quotes. And so actually this week, our Bible verse, the kids were like, have we done something similar to that? So it's helping them to remember the passages in the Bible, and it's very helpful. The thing about the planner is it should be a tool to help you, not something that you just are driven by. That's been the biggest thing that I have learned over the course of 10 years is that I was so driven by the planner at first. And instead, when we use it as a tool, like crossing off our completions, and, sometimes we don't get to some, and that's okay. That was for the pre-K anyway. So your senior in high school, she's got to do her math, but the planner really needs to be something that is useful for your family. That's why sometimes these one-size-fits-all planners don't really work for people, because it's not your family. So this is what has worked for us. I know it's hard to show on the screen and it's hard to talk about. The other thing that I do have in my planner is I have a section for grades. So we don't have very many grades yet this year, but they're going to be coming in here soon. So I have a section for my senior in high school, then the junior, then the 8th grade, and the 6th grade, none for the pre-K. But that's helpful to have all in one place, because I use my planner every day to just make sure we're doing the things that we need to do. And then I just know that my grades can go right there. And so I have it all in one system. In the front of my planner, we do like a monthly calendar. So any field trips or things that you like to plan in advance, it's all right here. And you just flip to the front. Very, very simple. When we were in Kentucky, we did have to take attendance. And so I do still have this in my planner. It's our attendance chart. We don't need it here in Florida, but it just helps me stay on track to know how many days we actually schooled, if I'm taking too many breaks, if we're schooling too much and we need a break. It just really helps me. So we mark off the days that we school each day on our calendar. So that's my planners in a nutshell. My kids do have,
Hey, Kim,
yes.
will you tell them how you physically make it?
Oh, like punching it?
Yeah, I mean, do you do it at home, don't you?
I do
With
it.
all that stuff that's behind her, I'm sure that comes in handy. I want to come play in that room. That's what I want to do.
This is our homeschool craft play area. So this, if you see the table right behind me, that's where the pre-K does a lot of his work. those boxes I'm going to talk about here in just a second. Those are tools for him. And then of course, all our school books.
Sharla says she's drooling.
On over, y'all. It's great in Florida.
Hey, my parents only live an hour from there. So, just
Hey, look
saying.
me up when you're here. So here, are you saying like just how I copy it? I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
because I mean, do you take it to Staples?
Oh, okay. So no, I used to take them to Staples. I used to make all the copies I wanted to make and put them all in order exactly how I wanted it. Staples was getting very, very expensive just to put the cover in the binding and punch it all together. So on Amazon, my husband one year treated me to one of these great binding machines. So they're the actual nice spiral binding. And so the cost of the machine paid for itself after 2 years. Actually, really after 1 year, because I make a book for myself and one for each of my kids. And then we also use that machine for lots of school things. So it is an expense, but if you have a lot of schooling to go and you're interested in making something like this, it's well worth it. We use it all the time. So is that kind of what you were asking?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And if you want to tag Kim in the Facebook group later with any questions, her name is not showing up because don't even ask, but her last name is Dlugo, Kim Dlugo.
So with the planner comes a lot of scheduling. The way that my planner works is just by making sure I have a really good schedule for my family that fits my family. We are early risers. We start our school day. I guess maybe some people are earlier. We start our day at 8 o'clock. And so we are up here in the schoolroom doing our devotion at 8 o'clock. All 5 of my kids, including the preschooler, are up here at that time. And then after we go through the assignments for the day in the planner, we kind of break and we have a time set. And that first hour after our devotion is for all of my 4 older kids to be doing independent work. That it has to be independent. So if they didn't check with me the night before, they're not going to have their independent work. But typically they're pretty good about it. So most of them will do math. My older girls will do history, math, literature. And that gives me time to give attention to my pre-K right at the get-go. It always makes our day go much better if he gets school time right at the beginning. And so we go through his little schooling. It includes a Bible study and all that sort of thing. And I have an hour. That's about all I get. And then my older kids are starting to need me for different subjects. And so during that hour, we will do a Bible lesson. We will do the schoolwork for the day. So if it's a letter that day or a number, a color, a shape, whatever the actual learning piece is that day, we will do all of our learning for that time. We will do a craft together. We will sing and read together. And we will usually play a game together. And then I will have different resources piled up on this little table over here for him to work on so that I can tend to the needs of my older kids. So some of those resources that I use, and this kind of goes into my second little talk, Miss Vicki. Some of those resources that I use came with our My Father's World curriculum. I'm not plugging them, sorry, it's what we've used forever. So these are like lace and shape things. He can put the shapes in, he can lace them. It's good for his fine motor skills. It's good for his color matching, shape matching. I mean, you could do tons of learning with these guys. We have pegboards. He can build things, he can count, he can sort colors. He can just play, and through play, he's learning. So these are really great. And it goes on and on. In those bins over there, I have about 4 bins dedicated to things that I keep just for him, and then I'll pull out different things each day. Let's see, our big one that we've been using lately are the ABC puzzles. So if we're studying the letter A, for example, that will be on the table. I will put my very old placemat on the table. He'll find the letter A. He'll use Play-Doh and he'll try to make the letter A with Play-Doh. I will have all that on the table for him. And that usually keeps him pretty occupied while I can tend to teaching different subjects for the other kids. I keep him very close so that if I need to tend to him, I can, but it's a lot of planning in the beginning. So at the beginning of the day, you have to be pretty put together, have everything organized. On the days that they do not go very well. And Vicki caught me on one of those days not too long ago. She asked me to talk about teaching with a preschooler, and I said, this is not the day. That's
Now,
organized.
am I correct in saying that when you're occupying your preschooler with those boxes aren't used for other times?
Correct. We pick them up, we put them away, and then the next day I will take different things out. And it's not always, I have a couple of my educational boxes next to me. I'll just show you some. This is a game, but he uses it to play. It's called Frogs on a Log. And so it's really to learn counting by tens, but sometimes he just plays with them. And that's okay. Sometimes I will just, I don't know if y'all can see it. His play table is right there. And so I will put Legos on there, or he loves monster trucks, and he will just play Legos or monster trucks. That's okay too. As long as you keep them busy and quiet as much as possible, he can still be right in the room with us as I'm teaching my other kids. And then the other kids, if Benjamin, who is my 8th grader, is done with his assignment, I might say to him, Benjamin, there's a book on the table that I want you to read to Levi. Would you please go read? And so I use my older kids also to keep him entertained as we're working with other kids. So if I'm working with Violet on math, Benjamin might be reading a book. Or if I'm working with Benjamin on science, Violet might be outside on the trampoline with him for 10 minutes. So making sure you have a good schedule, using the things that you have. You don't need a ton of stuff. You just need to make sure it's organized and ready and prepared so that they have something. So,
Right.
That works for us.
Okay, no problem, Daisy. We'll see you next time. Okay. Sorry, I was distracted. Amanda is also a mom of multiples, and so she's going to share some ways that she keeps her sanity homeschooling multiples.
Well, it's funny because I think me and Kim could have just piggybacked right on each other, because I'm going through my notes and I'm like, okay, I don't have to talk about that.
You say it anyway.
I don't have to talk about that either, because high five. So, well, I don't have to talk. I can use more time for other things. So thanks. Okay. So one of the things I was going to say is, and Kim just talked about it, use your kids to teach your other kids. I don't know, I write children and students. So children or students, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, child students, I don't know. But anyway, sometimes I even have the younger ones teaching the older ones. I know that, I don't know, the older ones kind of I don't know, it's like an ego thing. They're like, wait a minute, the young, what? But, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, you know what? So-and-so just went over whatever, fractions or whatever, you can use the review. So, and I think also, and I was thinking about it too, I feel like that drives home 1 Timothy 4:12, let no man despise your youth. And the rest of it goes on to say, but be thou an example of the believers in word and conversation and charity and spirit and faith and purity. So I don't know, I feel like it gives all the kids a chance to humbly teach and humbly learn. So if you're an older kid and you have to learn from your younger, I don't know, I just feel like it's worked out really well for us. So I don't know, they just kind of lose an ego and they say, okay, you got to teach me now. And and like Kim was talking about, it really, really does a great job of occupying the little kids' time too. If I got to work with someone else right now, so hey, like Kim said, here's a book, or hey, Abby, can you go over Ellie's next lesson or whatever, because she'll know how to do it. So no problem. And then that frees you up, or that frees you up to teach one-on-one time, another, student, kid, whatever. Also, I got more about it, but also, I think back to like our I went back to school and did education, and I think about all those fancy educational things they teach you and like how great that is, and to help them solidify their, subject matter to teach. And I have all these fancy quotes, but I'll skip those. Maybe I'll come back to them. But anyways, I don't know. Okay. Frank Oppenheimer, he said the best way to learn is to teach. And William Glasser, he's got that one that says we learn 10% of what we read, and so on and so forth, and 95% of what we teach. So I just feel like it's awesome for organizational, like Kim was talking about, but it's also really great for them to, learn. I don't know.
That's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you're hitting two. So I told my son the other day, I said, Trevor, we're going to kill two birds with one stone. And he said, Mom, why are we killing birds? I never said that. So I said, it's a figure of speech, son, like we're doing one thing and we're getting two things done. So we're being efficient. And he's like, I still don't get it. I don't know. So anyways, and then that kind of brings me to my next point is I like to teach. I like to have the kids do one thing, but then like hit a lot of different subjects or whatever. So like without going into my next thing, sometimes I'll have them like we'll go over a science lesson with the little girls or whatever, and I'll have them write a scripture that kind of pertains to whatever it is that we're going on about, especially when it comes to like creation and that kind of thing. And our curriculum has a lot of neat little scriptures that kind of goes along with some of the things that we talk about, which is kind of cool. And right there, I've got science and I've got Bible and I have handwriting, like, all right, guys, write this best, your best, do your best, write this as neat as you can. And it can count for handwriting. And I don't know, and maybe even spelling. That's what I think.
Yep.
So it's just, I don't know, getting a lot done with one, thing. I think instead of saying, oh, today we've got to hit handwriting and spelling and all this other stuff, sometimes you can just squeeze them all in one lump and be done. I don't know. And then that brings me to my next point is just trying to get them, and people talk about this all the time, and that's okay because it's good. Just teaching as many kids in, one group and one subject as you can. But, this year I've got an age gap of, 10 something years. And so that wasn't really working with all the different subjects like science and history and that kind of thing. So I kind of subgrouped them, but they still, we're still trying to get, I don't know, as much done in a group as you can. I don't know. So, and then sometimes with that too, it's sort of like what Kim was saying again, like you can sometimes have like the older group teach the younger group their science, and then, hey, mom will meet back with you to do your science or whatever. And so they get a little extra science in before they do their science. So I don't know. That's kind of how we do things. This year, I will tell you, this year was really crazy when we started out because apparently my kids developed a obsession with the bathroom and waiting in the hallway for the bathroom. So I don't know why. We have multiple bathrooms in our house, but when we're homeschooling, we really only have one like kind of close usable bathroom that's not too far away. And one day I was sitting up here and I was the only one, like my 3-year-old wasn't even up here, and they are all downstairs. One person is in the bathroom and the 4 other ones are sitting in the hallway waiting on the one that's in the bathroom. And I'm like,
what are you guys doing? And they're like, but Mom, I'm waiting. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm waiting on the bathroom. And so I'm like, okay. So we instituted that actually, and it was funny because I was talking to a friend, a fellow homeschooler on the from Coach, and she was texting me about our kids doing like a Devo together or whatever. And I'm like, hang on, I'm making bathroom passes right now. So I got the laminator out and I made bathroom passes.
Oh my word.
That is hilarious. I mean, I can make it even more funny if you really want funny, because our homeschool kind of collars has always been like gray and yellow. So I don't know. I guess out of frustration, I was like, okay, we're making these bathroom passes. And the background of them they're gray. And then the writing is in yellow. So they think that's funny too, because they're back. I don't know. Anyways.
I get it. I got it.
Okay. So, but the rule is, and I have them they're on a clip on the whiteboard. So, and they get a bathroom pass and a drink pass. And the rule is they have to ask to take a pass. And if the pass is gone, like clearly one is gone, then they don't get to ask. They have to wait. So.
Hey, this is the way she manages. She's got a drill here. It's okay.
I didn't mess. I was like, we have a problem, Houston, and we have to fix this. So, now, I mean, our day runs really smooth now. So, I mean, they work until until the pass comes back, and then they take the pass and go to the bathroom. So, yeah, bathroom passes. Make some bathroom passes. So, okay, I should say that one for last. I don't know, that was funny. Okay, minimalism. I don't know. I think when you first start homeschooling, everybody wants to give you stuff because they find out you homeschool. Everybody wants to give you stuff. And if you have 5 kids or 4, 5, 6, I don't know, like however many kids you have all these different, like Kim showed you all her teacher books, and I could show you all the insane amount of teacher books that I have sitting up here, and test keys and all that stuff. And like, I don't, if I kept all the stuff that people gave me, I would just drown. So I got rid of a lot of stuff, just getting rid of a lot of stuff. And that we didn't need, for even furniture. People have given us furniture, here's a desk, like, I know you homeschool, so I get text messages all the time. Do you want this? I wanted to give you first dibs on this desk. I'm like, thank you. But you got to learn the tactful art of just thank you so much for thinking of me. I appreciate you so much, but no. And I think that makes your life a whole lot easier. I don't know, because you've already got, you just have a ton of stuff. You don't really need any more stuff. You've already got plenty of stuff. So, and then Kim was talking about independent work. And so that is a lifesaver. Like, I just was like, yes, that's perfect. Just make a mental list in your head about, they can practice spelling words on their own. They can pair up and do flashcards on their own. They can, maybe they have a lads to leaders assignment they need to work on. Do that by, do you have a Devo that you've got to give to your friends or whatever? Go work on that while you're waiting. Don't sit there and do, nothing. And then, also just, I think, have a talk with your kids about, listen, there's 5 of you and there's 1 of me. If I'm working with so-and-so, you've just got to circle that problem and move on to the ones, and then wait for mom. I don't know, because I'll get to you eventually. Maybe you should take the bathroom pass and take a potty break. Oh, I have one more. Sorry, I don't know. I might be past time. I'm not sure.
Go.
But I just feel like, am I doing good? I forgot to look
we
at
need
the
it.
clock.
Tell us.
Okay. I got a little, I don't know, sentimental, I guess. I just feel like we as homeschoolers, if that, you know, are teaching for anybody, it doesn't matter, but you know, especially when you've got a lot, you feel like you're being batted back and forth all day. I just think patience, like practicing patience, really, I mean, it sounds cliche, maybe, I don't know, but I feel like it goes a long way. And then also, I feel like, I had a verse. Ephesians, there, I mean, obviously it's a fruit of the spirit, but also there's Ephesians 4:12, with all loneliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. And I see that as how, like, I want my kids to see mom reacting to them on one of those, like Kim described. Sorry, Kim. It was just real. I could just speak, but I just feel like, you know, that's how I want my kids to view me, as reacting to them when we're having a really, you know, crazy day and mom's having to make bathroom passes because, you know, that kind of thing. But also too, I've noticed kind of this year, we started doing something a little different. And that's just like trying to make things a little bit more fun. Like, so that way it doesn't feel like, you know, mom's yelling at this person and then mom's yelling at that person, get busy on that, get busy on that. And so we did a couple new things this year. And one of those things was, you know, you guys put in a good week, a good long week, because by the time we get to Friday, I'm tired. I know that they're tired. And like, I don't know, by Friday, by Wednesday, we're feeling it, I think. But I'm like, if we can just get to Friday, like by Wednesday, I'm like, yeah, let's take a long weekend. That would be great every week. But, you know, we have to get to Friday. And by then, I'm just like, you know what, let's do something fun. So we'll usually have like a movie night, and the kids will be able, like after school, you know, by the time dad gets home, we can have like a movie night. And then they like to do a concession stand where they buy candy, and, you know, because we stay home a lot, so we don't really get to the movies, but they think that's fun because they get to buy candy with pretend, I don't know. And just a lot of other stuff. I have, you know, some other things written down, but I don't know.
Go ahead.
So, I'm sorry. I just, a couple other things we did this year was, I bought, like, I went on Etsy and had a little bit of Vicky knows me in t-shirts. I like t-shirts. I don't know why. I just, you know, it's like my mom uniform. And so Etsy, I cannot get on Etsy. Like, my husband's gonna have to put a lock on that store because I see all these t-shirts that I want. And one has like a mom, like a teacher shirt, do your best. And it's just like, I'm just kind of a sucker for educational t-shirts. One has an alphabet on it, and I put them with some maxi skirts, and I take like 5 minutes to get ready. Now, I used to just wear sweatpants, and sometimes I still do, but now I get ready. I take like 5 minutes and I get ready for school, and the kids think that that's hysterical. And the first week, like 2 out of 3 of my daughters all had to wear like skirts to school, like they dressed up too. And so it was, I mean, I don't know. They just, even like the boys, they're like, what is mom, you know, wearing to school today? I don't know. It's fun. So I don't know. I still have lots of shirts that I have yet to pull out. So I gotta space them out. And I don't know, go for a walk. We live out in the country, so I don't know if this is doable for everybody, but we like to just go on a walk. I don't know, like a nature walk, and talk about, you know, how's school going, and, you know, kind of bond and see some of God's creation and try to relate that to what we've been talking about here and there. And that's about it.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're very welcome.
Does anybody have any questions for any person that shared tonight?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Holly.
I have a question for Kim. Okay, so your schedule thing has everybody's lesson plans in it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do the individual, like you said that your kids have one as well, so what do the kids have in it? Did I miss that?
You know, I think I might have forgot to finish my thought.
That's okay.
It is just, so I got my senior girls plan and it is just her stuff. So she does have a calendar to start her planner, but then it is just what she needs for her senior.
Okay.
And then it is a double page spread for my kids. And on their second page, they have a place for their memory verse or the quote of the week. They have a note page. They do have their prayer list and to-do list. She's my artistic girl, so I love going through her planner because she'll have cute little artwork. She'll doodle on there.
That's funny.
And it kind of becomes a little bit of a memory book for my kids because they'll write in things and, they might put a note about some of their work. But yeah, theirs is a 2-page spread. And it's, that was my cat's tail. My cat's tail that just went across the screen. So it's their work, their particular work. And then they all have a very similar page on this side, but they don't have everybody else's work.
And so they just mark it off as they go.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Now some of them, like for example, our literature was not filled in. So at the beginning of the year, she and I went through some novels that we wanted her to read.
Right.
So we filled that in ourselves.
Yeah, I do my father's world too. So I have the same layout.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
So, and then if there's not enough boxes, we'll just fill in because they're taking dual credit classes with the local college. So they'll write their notes down here.
Right.
Page.
Right.
So,
okay.
Amanda, when you said you're like, somebody could maybe do flashcards with a sibling, or they could practice, Bible Bowl questions or whatever. Do you have a spot for those, or they just come up with that on their own? Like, like onboard box or filler box or something like that.
Just like I'm done with my stuff, or I'm waiting on mom. They just know to do one of those things. Or if I don't know if they're having.
Do they have to go find it, or is that something you've put in like a box somewhere?
No, they usually they kind of keep those types of things like on their desk. Like they have a table and they just kind of keep
extra stuff.
Yeah, they'll bring up their book and like anything that they're working on, and the flashcards are up here. I don't know, it's kind of just a routine of I don't know, they just know those things, I think.
Okay.
But having a box would probably be a good idea.
No, I think it's good either way. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, we just kind of wing things around here. We're not I'm just like, don't you have spelling words to do? I don't know. It's something to do.
Oh my. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, well, if you think of them later, you know where to find these ladies. And I really appreciate you all letting us into your home, letting us glimpse into your blessings. You've done a great job sharing the topics that we planned, and I'm very, very grateful. So I really appreciate it. And I'm going to close this with a very fast prayer, and you can get back to your babies. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for every friend here. Thank you for the sisterhood that we share. And I ask that you continue to bless these mamas as they school their children. I ask that you guide our children in the choices that they make, the friends that they make, the company they keep, and what's on their hearts and their minds and where their feet and hands go. I just pray that you would help us be appreciative of all of our husbands' work as we are able to do this. Help us not to take our gifts for granted, and please help us all stay healthy and protect us, and give us just a great outlook to know that we need to have that patience, and we can instill the love of the Lord in our children, and that is a gift. Thank you for Kim. Thank you for Amanda, and thank you for Sharla, and thank you for Holly, and thank you for loving us so much. You gave us your son. In his name we pray. Amen. Thanks, girls.
Thank you.
No, Vicky.